Hey everyone, welcome to the Canine Culture Podcast, where we talk about everything dog. Q&As with veterinarian professionals, rescue operators, everyday topics. We cover everything dog on this podcast. So make sure you subscribe to the Canine Culture Podcast on your favorite podcast platform, and make sure you're following us on social media on both Instagram and Facebook. Thanks again for listening. Now here's that next episode. Hey everyone, thank you for tuning in to the Canine Culture Podcast. This is the very first episode, so episode 1, season 1, and this is an introductory episode. So for those of you who don't know me, my name is Brittany. I currently live in Florida with my husband and 3 Pomeranians. I have Titan. He is an 11-year-old, almost 12-year-old Pomeranian. We got him when he was a puppy. We have Stony. She's 13. We rescued her from Papillon Pals in Jacksonville, Florida when she was 11 years old. And we have Napoleon, who is 2.5. We rescued him just a few months ago, actually, from Greta's Ark in New Orleans, Louisiana. I've always had Pomeranians my entire life. Dogs have always been my passion, but Pomeranians have always been the breed that I've had in particular. So some of this podcast today will be a little bit about Pomeranians, but we won't get too much into that. We won't get too much into the weeds because this is just an introduction. So just to let you guys know why I started this podcast. So like I said, always had Pomeranians. I had one Pomeranian that I got when I was in high school. She passed after I graduated law school. Her name was Chloe, and she got lymphoma when she was about 11 years old. It came as a shock to us, and I noticed very quickly there weren't many resources. And so I want this podcast to be an outlet with resources for dog owners or people looking to adopt or people looking to get their first dog, or maybe people who have had the vet tell them that a health issue has come up and they really don't know where to turn. So to give you some backstory on that diagnosis, she was diagnosed with lymphoma. And at that time, the vet we were seeing, I won't mention what office it is. They do have nationwide offices. But they essentially said, hey, she has lymphoma. That's it. They didn't give us any options. They didn't tell us where to go. They had no suggestions. They basically just said, hey, she has lymphoma. She's sick. Don't bring her back here. And that really led me on a quest to figure out what I should do as a dog owner. And so what I'm hoping to bring to you guys is fellow dog owners and their stories and the resources that they found. So because I've already brought up the lymphoma diagnosis, I am going to kind of jump into that today. But on future episodes, we're going to be interviewing different medical professionals, rescue owners, general dog owners, vet techs, people of all walks of life who I hope can provide you with different resources and knowledge that you might be seeking or might eventually need, or maybe you have a friend or family member who's in need of that information. So as far as lymphoma, it is a pretty aggressive cancer, and I know there's multiple forms, multiple types, and we really won't dig into that. But I just want to share some of the resources that I found and used personally, what I thought maybe helped. I don't know if I can say what didn't help, but I can give you guys what I learned. So first and foremost is, we saw an oncologist in Jacksonville, Florida. That oncologist is SevoMed. They do have 2 offices. They do different types of radiation, different types of chemo. Quite frankly, we tried every single avenue and route that they had available. I don't know what worked and didn't work, but I do know that they did try everything in their power. So we tried multiple forms of chemo. We went to radiation. We went through the entire radiation cycle. We went back to chemo, and then we essentially exhausted our options. And so what I'll say about that is a lot of people don't know the costs. And it is very, very expensive to see an oncologist, whether it's for chemo, whether it's for radiation. Personally, we spent over $20,000. And in order to pay off all of that, because it was on credit cards, we had to sell our house, which, hey, neither here nor there. We'll do anything for our dogs. So aside from the oncologist, a great resource that I found was the Keto Pet Sanctuary. So this is actually a rescue for dogs with terminal cancer, and they focus heavily on the diet of the dogs. So they follow a ketogenic diet based on a scientific approach to help the dogs live comfortably, help perhaps shrink the cancer, lessen the cancer. And so I found them through a friend and just got on their website, started reading some different articles, and then implemented the ketogenic lifestyle for Chloe, our dog that had lymphoma. The meals were pretty easy to make. It's a very high fat ratio, so it's mostly fat and then protein and then next to no carbs. So a lot of our meals would have ground turkey, coconut oil, maybe a few vegetables, like a few green beans, a few pieces of asparagus. But we would prep those meals based on the research that we did through the Keto Pet Sanctuary. Most of the meals actually Chloe really enjoyed because she got to a point where she just didn't want to eat. And so it could just be just generally helpful if you don't think keto is going to help cure or lessen the cancer. It might just be a good route for you to explore to get your dog to eat when they have cancer, because that's definitely an issue. So aside from that, my husband and I also learned a lot about CBD use for dogs. We still use CBD for our 3 dogs that we have now, but I think that's really when we were able to delve into the research and find a good CBD brand. We actually use Max and Neo. They donate for every bottle that you buy to a rescue of your choice, which is fantastic. So it's Max and Neo CBD, great resource, whether not even just for cancer, it could be for joint pain, back pain, inflammation, sleeping, overall health. Like I said, our 3 dogs all take it, and I kind of have different purposes for each of the dogs taking it. But CBD has been a great supplement for all of our dogs. The final thing to kind of talk about with cancer treatment and lymphoma was we found acupuncture. And I know you're probably thinking, there's no way that works. It sounds woo-woo. Acupuncture is not going to help cancer. I was also a skeptic, and we took Chloe in. And the first time we took her in, I was like, hey, she's really not sleeping. Can you guys help with that? And they said, absolutely. So they did the acupuncture. We came home and she slept a solid 8 hours that night. And I was stunned, and I was like, okay, maybe this is just a fluke, who knows? So the next time we went in, I said, hey, Chloe's not really eating. And the acupuncturist, did her thing. And lo and behold, Chloe came home and was able to eat. So we actually took her through acupuncture the entire time and saw a lot of benefits from it. And so, because of those benefits, very much like the CBD, our dogs now go to acupuncture. And it can help with anything. It can help with just overall supporting the immune system, helping your dog's appetite, helping them sleep, helping with anxiety, helping with different pains that they might have, different injuries that they might have. So I would definitely encourage anyone who has a dog with honestly any ailment to look into your acupuncture resources that are local to you. Here in Jacksonville, we do have a great vet down at the beach who does it. I'm happy to provide you with that information if you want to reach out. And yeah, so that's just a little, background on me and why I'm starting this podcast and what you guys can expect. I would love to hear from you guys, whether you want to be a speaker, whether you're going through something and you want me to try to find you someone to talk about the topic, to provide you with different resources. I'm more than happy to do that. On some upcoming episodes, we'll be talking to someone who runs a rescue and what that looks like, what the needs are, the day-to-day operations. We will be talking to some vet techs and some common issues that they see, some common injuries, maybe some preventable surgeries. And then we'll be talking to different owners on breed-specific questions. How are some breeds more reactive? What kind of activity level do they have? What's the best food? Different things like that. So I'm really excited to share this journey with you guys, and I look forward to our next full episode. Thank you for tuning in to the Canine Culture Podcast. Please make sure you subscribe to the Canine Culture Podcast on your favorite podcast platform, and make sure you're following us on social media. If you have any recommendations, any topics that you'd like to hear, if you know of any guests that would be good for the show, or if you yourself want to be a guest, please reach out to us. Send us an email at canineculturepodcast@gmail.com, or send us a direct message on social media. Thank you for listening, and please share this with any of your dog-loving friends.